Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to the hopefully elect out there, man, because I'm going to go ahead and start this off. I'm going to read this first real quick in Mark chapter 13, which Mark chapter 13 is one of those chapters that we are currently living in, as well as Luke 21, Matthew 24, 2nd Esdras 15 and 16, and 2nd Esdras chapter 9. We're currently living in these chapters, but I'm gonna read this real quick in Mark chapter 13. I'm going to read verse 19. It says, now, before I read this, because pretty much this applied, because this is pretty much like a twofold kind of thing, because this pretty much, a lot of these events in this chapter already took place, all right? It applied back then, but nevertheless, it can be applied to the times that we're living in now, and the times that we're coming into, all right? And when I say back then, during the time of, around the time of the what is known as the siege of Jerusalem, around 70 AD, all right? Matter of fact, when you read up, I'm going to read up, because, before Yahweh Shai, because this took place not too long after Yahweh Shai was crucified. So, while Yahweh Shai was alive, he actually warned Jake about these things. He foretold Jake of future events. And I'm going to start at verse 14. It says, and like I said, it applied then. This already took place during that time, around the time of the siege of Jerusalem. You can read about Masada and those different events during that time. But this can also be applied now in the times that we're coming into, because the scripture says there's no new thing under the sun, So, like I said, Yahweh Shai, he was warning Jake back then, and pretty much this is a warning for us now. I'm going to read Mark 13 and 14. It says, but when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Because, it talks about this event as well, pretty much, when you read in the book of Daniel. That's why I said, let him that readeth understand. All right, talking about the abomination of desolation. It said, then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. All right. You see, so pretty much, again, Yahweh Shai, he was warning Jake that, pretty much, man, when you see them troops coming, man, and they're getting ready to sack Jerusalem, all right? Like I said, when you see Jerusalem being compassed with armies and things of that nature, when you see this get ready to take place, all right? And again, it can be applied to us now because, again, Jerusalem it's a people before it's a place, all right? So when we see, mainly here in America, when we see Jerusalem being compassed with armies, all right, as they crack down more and more, and they pretty much because whether people want to believe it or not, America's going back on lockdown, all right. They're talking about a resurgence in not a resurgence, but they're talking about a surge in cases, right? This subvariants, right? And Lord's will I get around to it. I'm gonna do another video because they were talking about I think they were talking about this bird flu that's well, let me not jump the gun, because again, Lord's will I get around to do a video on it, but they pretty much, this next virus, they pretty much saying is the way they were putting it. I believe it's the former director of the CDC. He was saying how pretty much the whole C19 that started back in 2020, that was pretty much that was pretty much like a um just like a starter, so to say. That wasn't the really the real thing. And this next virus or crisis, or however they put it, this is they the way they're putting it, they're making it seem like this is going to be it. So like I said, a case in a surge in new cases, and they're already in certain places, reinstating the mask mandates and stuff like that. I believe Joe Biden, he I don't know if it was Joe Biden, but something dealing with the let me see if I can look it up real quick. Because the whole point being, and I've been saying it, brothers have been saying it, they're going to shut this place back down, man. This place is going back on lockdown, whether you want to believe it or not. All right. We told you people back in 2020, man, just because they started, things started easing up and things of that nature. We told you people, man, don't get too comfortable, because, hey, it's prophesied, lockdowns, martial law. All right. So going back to the point I was making, like I said, when you see that, all right, hey, just know that it's going to go down. And like I said, Yahweh, that's pretty much what he was, he was warning Jake, when you see these things, Jerusalem being compassed with armies and such, just run. Don't try to fight, don't try to bear up arms, and because this is all the will of the Lord. So don't try to fight it. Just run, just flee into the mountains. But before I read on, I wanted to see if I could find this. Something about dealing with the mandates for that shot for the Vanessa. Something about them reimposing that the mandates. I believe it was for federal workers, if I'm not mistaken. I can't find it, but nevertheless, like I said, these things. Like I said, the with the C-19, man, that like I said, the way that they're making it out to be, that was pretty much a starter. And from what they're saying, they're making it seem like this new virus. Like I said, Lord's will, I can get around to doing the video, but this virus could be the finisher. So, nevertheless, the whole point, with all that being said, the point being that, like I said, martial law and more lockdowns, because again, this place is going back on shutdown. All right, and I got a series of videos that I want to play, because this is pretty much another edition of what can be expected here in America. All right, like in Shanghai, if I'm not mistaken, or Hong Kong, or one of those provinces in China. Like I said, I got a few videos. Hey, well, let me not jump the gun, but nevertheless, again, when all these things come here and we start seeing these things, like Yahushua warned Jake, going back to Mark 13, 14 again, it says, "But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand." And you see, because matter of fact, I'm going to go to Revelation. Because when these things go down, man, it's not going to catch us, for the most part, the hopefully elect. It's not going to catch us off guard. Why? Because we're reading, we're watching, we're praying. That's why I'm going to say, read Revelation 1 and 3. It says, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand." You see, because the scriptures talk about how it is time for the Lord to work, man. We're in that time. This is the time. So hey, these things, they got to play out. You see. So again, blessed is he that readeth. Because hey, we're in the time of prophecy. That, one of the chapters that I quoted was Second Ezra chapter 9, man. Going into pretty much the time of prophecy. We're in the time of prophecy, man. Here it is. Well, again, let me not jump the gun, because Lord's will, I get around to doing this video, going into the Charagma, because that's the, that's again, that's one of the major prophecies, man. That's one of the major prophecies that we're looking out for, man. It appears that they're gonna, before they just come out all out with it, they got to make it convenient for everyone. They got to butter everyone up, so they got to, present it in a way that's, they got to set it up in a way that it's presentable to everyone, and this will be the new popular trend, like out there in Sweden, because out there in Sweden, I've talked about this a few times, the whole thing with the charagma and people opening doors with the swipe of their hand and stuff like that. That's a popular trend. It's been a popular trend out there for some years now, you see. So you see, that's why I said this a while ago, that's, pretty much what we're going to start seeing here with this popular trend of people opening doors with the swipe of a hand, right? They were already, information, information over the past few months going into people that, were paralyzed, they could, making tweets by thinking about it and stuff like that. You see, so, again, it's a thing of, like I said, there's going to be a popular trend very soon out here in America, in the States, all right, where you're going to see these things, man. People that were, paralyzed from the waist down, they're going to get these charagmas, these implants, and they're going to be able to walk again and, perform miracles and stuff like that, But nevertheless, without, like I said, I don't want to jump the gun. But nevertheless, going back to Mark 13. So this is why, again, those that read, those that are watching, those that are, on top of these things, like I said, when this goes down, it's not going to catch us by surprise, because these people, man, they're still in a state of normalcy bias, man. But going back to Mark 13:14 again. But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. All right, because again, during this time, well, this was, Yahushua, he was warning Jacob of future events. All right, and like I said, not too long after Yahushua was crucified, these events took place. But again, it could be applied to the times that we're in now and the times that we're coming into. All right. It says, and you see, when this goes down, matter of fact, when you read on verse 15, it says, let him that is on the housetop not go down into the house, neither enter therein to take anything out of his house. You see? So when this goes down, man, we're not going to have time to go back to the crib and grab the PS5 and none of that, For some of us, we're just going to have to be on the go, as scriptures talk about being pilgrims on the earth. All right. When wherever we're at, all right. When this goes down, man, we're just gonna have to completely rely on the Spirit. All right, our faith, is gonna, that's the time where our faith is gonna be completely dependent upon Yahweh Shem Shai. It says, but woe to them that are sucked with child in those days. Excuse me, but woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Yeah, because when you're on the run and you're on the go, and there's no food, and all these things are going on, and you got children, man, that can be a burden. It says, and pray ye that your flight be not in the winter. Well, because also as well, it's a lot harder to do things when it's in cold ass weather. So verse 19, it says, for in those days shall be affliction such as was not from the beginning of the creation which God created unto this time, neither shall be. All right, so this is what's coming, this time of great affliction. All right, lamentation and woe and mourning. All right, death and sorrow. This is what the Lord is getting ready to bring here on the earth, which is already happening, but more so here in America, Babylon the Great, because this place is going to get the worst judgment. All right, this place is reaching, if it's not already, this place is reaching an all-time high in wickedness, man. And this place is only getting more and more wicked. So with that being said, the judgments that is going to come to this place is going to be these people, these people, they're not going to be ready for what's getting ready to happen. What the Lord's getting ready to bring down upon this place. These people, they're not going to be ready. All right. So with that being said, what was I going to get? Or what was I holding? Maybe it'll come back to me. But nevertheless, man, again, just you know, um, like I said, this is pretty much another edition of what's coming to America, what we can start expecting to see here. And it's already, for the most part, going down in certain states and whatnot. They're just not, putting these things on the forefront in the mainstream media. All right. Because the mainstream media, they pretty much put out there what they want to distract the people with, as far as their propaganda and whatnot. All right. Because this is why you see people, man, you see people, man, because, you see these people. This is why you see people with the mask on, man. And, you could be out and, outside, and someone's wearing a mask and gloves and, just all, bugged out and shit, man. And they're looking at you like you're crazy and you're outside, people driving with a mask on, with the windows up, right? Why is that? Because these people, they listen to the mainstream media. You see, these people, they're under those enchantments, man. You see, like I said, they're looking at you like you're crazy. You see, so some of this stuff is already going down, but the thing is, it's only going to intensify out here. You see, we're in when the scriptures talk about the beginning of sorrows. You see, hey, we're in the beginning stages of this time of affliction, this time of Jacob's trouble. All right, this time that has never been since the earth was created, man. We're in the beginning stages of it. You see, so I'm gonna go ahead and play some of the series of these videos and get these precepts. So without further ado, I'm gonna play this first video. It says the cost of living crisis, pensioners pushed into poverty, and that's the spirit 444. Mercy, right? Lord's will, man. Because again, when this goes down. The only way to be preserved, protected, is the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah is going to have to be with us, So we're hoping for that mercy, man. We're hoping and striving to be a part of that number.
Nobody wants to queue for a food bank at any stage of their lives. But imagine, like Brenda, having to do it at the age of 78 with the ability to earn long gone. Or 68-year-old Michael, who's worked all his life on the London Underground and says he has £25 a week in spare cash.
Can you imagine that life would be like this? No, not at all. I thought I'm going to live comfortably. What I have to do is boil water every time I want to shave or have a proper wash.
The food bank can trigger a range of emotions.
Are you struggling? Too much.
1 in 5 pensioners are in poverty, and after 2 years and counting of a pandemic which picks off the most frail amongst the elderly, the cost of living adds to their loneliness and anxiety.
I think it goes back to their experiences often of being brought up in wartime and the experience of there not being enough to go around and having to make do.
Time and again, people are turning to their communities. These are volunteers brought together by unprecedented need in extraordinary times.
Thank you.
Their first call is to a 92-year-old man who hasn't been out since last October. Richard needs the lights on all day because his flat is so dark. His oxygen machine runs constantly. It's all racking up energy costs.
Hello, my friend. How you keeping?
The volunteers have brought him food and company.
We're isolated now from the rest of the community within our own building. Oh, brilliant. Oh, thank you.
Next, there's a book to deliver to Doreen.
Oh, that's a keepsake.
At 74, she can't afford to put the central heating on. Instead, there's 1 bar of the electric fire on in 1 room.
The other night, I went to bed and I felt lovely. And then about 2 o'clock in the morning, I thought, I've left the heating on, so I've had to come all the way down on the stair lift to turn the heating on, and then you wake up freezing cold.
Do you find it all quite depressing?
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's getting even worse now.
What's worrying is the long-term impact on the elderly.
A lot of people, because of the poverty that they face, will lead to premature or earlier death because of them not being able to feed themselves or clothe themselves or keep themselves warm adequately.
Living in fear of poverty for an increasing number of pensioners, what should be their golden years, have lost their sparkle. Lisa Holland, Sky News, East London.
So yeah, man, pretty much, man, with this whole, because I was watching a few videos going into how economists, pretty much a lot of economists, which again, one way or the other, the Lord is he's warning everyone, whether it be through the prophets or you got these so-called truthers, these so-called wokesters or whatever they're called, right? You got these economists, saying these things, pretty much how the economy, man, is going to shit, and like I was saying with these economists, I was watching videos with these economists, man, and they're, pretty much the new talk. And like I said, they're not going to say this on the mainstream media because, they're going to say that, Joe Biden is he's going to, basically boast about how he's bringing jobs back and, build back better and all this nonsense. When in reality, this economy is going to shit. They talk about the inflation percentage. It's like at 7 or 8% or something like that. But when you really take into account, because with the inflation numbers, they don't take into account like a lot of things like food and a lot of other things. But if you put, if you really do the numbers and put the numbers in and do the math, the inflation is really like almost up to 20%. Like I said, this whole with the inflation talk, they don't take into account food and fuel and other things. They leave out certain things, so the inflation rate is really a lot higher than what they say it is. You see, and they're even talking about I think they were talking about like I don't know if it was CVS or what, but they were talking about what do you call it food rationing, baby food, and that's the spirit. Because I'm gonna go back to Mark. I'm gonna read that part again where it said in Mark chapter 13, it said, Mark 13 and 17, it said, but woe to them that are with child and to them that give suck in those days. You see, because hey, we're coming into those times, man. Like I said, if the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai is not dealing with you, you're not going to make it out here, man. And this is going to, stuff like this is the cost of living, the living crisis. All right. It's not going to affect just what do you call it, the elderly. All right. It's going to be across all boards, the old, the young, middle class. Now, if you remember, when these lockdowns back in 2020, man, that almost completely eradicated the middle class, which was all strategically set up. Because when you go to the prophecy in Revelation 13, you see, because you're either going to fall into one of two categories. Revelation 13, it says, verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma, because we can't say that we can't say that word because YouTube will flag the video. And just in case they do, this video will either be up on BitChute or Odyssey. The link will be in the description. But it says to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads. You see, but the point being, it said rich and poor. You see, because there's no middle class in this so-called New World Order that Esau's trying to set up. Are you either going to fall into two categories, the rich or the poor? You see, and during this whole process of this whole so-called crisis that's been going on, the rich have been getting richer, the poor have been getting poorer. You see, And again, with the cost of everything's going up, man, it's getting harder and harder for, people to take care of themselves. It's this inflation, man, it's kicking ass. Some places harder than others, but one way or the other, man, we're all being affected. All right. And if you're not affected by it, well, just sit back and wait, because hey, these things are coming. All right. Tough times are coming, man. Because again, we are in those times. Dark days are in store for America. All right. So that's why, looking at these things, man, what's going on in these other places, because hey, the scriptures tell you about how, what was that, in Second Esdras, man, it's either 15 or 16. It talks about how the Lord sends the scourges for an amendment. The Lord sends those warning shots. He sends those jab shots to let us know, that, hey, he's getting ready, he's pointing at the clock, man. It's almost that time. So you're watching these different things in these different places, man, and, to get a little inkling of what we can start expecting to see here. Because one of the plagues that's been plaguing a lot of people, a lot of people are depressed. The alcohol sales have been going up because people have been drinking more. People have been more stressed out. The scriptures talk about the love of many waxing cold. People are just, tension is at an all-time high. You see, and it's going to get to a point where this is going to spill over, man. Because again, with the inflation going up, man, and the price of good going up, the cost of living is going up, right? But the wages that we're seeing, it's not matching up to the cost of everything going up, right? Because the dollar, hey, it's on its way out of here. The dollar's on its way out of here, and it's just a matter of time before this dollar, it just, it's just completely collapses. The time is coming. The dollar is going to, be worthless, and hey, man, when it gets to a point where, again, you can't afford nothing, hey, people like this, the elderly, the old, right, the vulnerable, hey, like I quoted, the love of many waxing cold. People are going to be running up, running up in their houses, man, running up in other people's houses, the vulnerable, the old, the women, right? And a lot of people are going to get robbed. And we're already seeing that, man. People getting robbed in daylight. You see, man, perilous times the scriptures talk about, man. We're in those perilous times, very dangerous times, evil times, which the word evil goes into bad times, man. But again, that's why we are going to need the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, man. But I'm going to read this in Isaiah chapter 24, verse 8. It says, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. All right, because the mirth, the mirth is pretty much done, or it's been done. All right. You see, and like I said, man, people are still they still have their bread and circus. People still have the little distractions that they have. All right. But when reality hits, it's going to hit like a shit ton of bricks. All right. Because these people, they're still plugged into the matrix. Like I said, they still have their little distractions. So this is why people really do think that things are going to, get better, man. But hey, when reality hits, man, it's going to hit you hard. That's why I was saying earlier, man, to those of us that are reading, studying, we're praying, we're watching for these things, we're anticipating it. So when it does come, for the most part, we're not going to be surprised, because we're anticipating it. We're bracing ourselves. You see, but to these people, man, they're not going to know what hit them. They're not going to know what to do. They're not going to go where to go. All right. They're not going to know what's going on, man. And that's why when you read on, it says, verse 9, they shall not drink wine with a strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Yeah, pretty much like I said, reality is going to hit, man. It's going to hit you people like a shit ton of bricks. It says a city of confusion is broken down. All right, talking about America, because America is just one big boiling pot of just confusion, man. It's just one big melted pot of just straight up confusion. And I'm not even going to get into that, going into this whole, transformer agenda and, all the confusion that's going on in this place. But again, it said the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. There was a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. You see, man. So again, like I said, the mirth is gone, man. And like I said, people are still, they still have their little distractions. They're still, you know, under this false facade, man, under this illusion. But little by little, people are starting to wake up. You know, people are starting to understand that something's going on, man. Like I said, they still have their distractions. So, you know, they're you know, until these things, you know, completely get taken away, these people, man, they're still gonna, you know, they're still gonna, you know, do what they do until the Lord takes it away from them, right? But nevertheless, man, yeah, man, you know, like I said, with the cost of living going up, cost of everything is going up, you know. Like I said, recession is on the rise, man, and this recession, man, is going to be worse than there's a depression that's coming that's going to be worse than the Great Depression. All right, you know, again, man, it's going to get bad out here, man. You know, and when this goes down, people are gonna, like I said, you know, what the hell happened? I done took all my booster shots, right? You know, I done got the jab, took my booster shots. What happened? I thought we were good, you know. You see, well, hey, like I said, you know, we've been telling you, and you even got Esau's telling you, you know, hey, you got Joe Biden telling you, but warning, Joe Biden has been warning about famines. You know, the Lord's putting the spirit on these people. You know, he's been putting the spirit on Esau to even tell you what's going on, you know, because you don't want to take it from us. Well, hey, you know, get it from the horse's mouth himself, you know. But on to this next video.
Get you the latest from China. The COVID-19 outbreak in the city of Shanghai, the financial capital, has now reported more than 22,000 new cases in 24 hours. And China has put the city under a strict lockdown under its zero COVID tolerance policy. Horrifying videos have emerged from Shanghai. They've been making the rounds on social media as well. Residents can be heard screaming from their windows.
最尴尬，5分钟前头，俺们叫我没几个了，现在突然之间。 所有人都叫了，不好意思。
Under the strict policy, residents are not allowed to leave their homes even for food.
要命！再敢弄下去，我讲真要出事体了。
The video is from one of the biggest residential compounds in the city. A video circulating on social media shows people yelling from their windows after being confined to their homes for almost a week.
这个状态到底维持到啥个地方？我总要把个标准，我这是。
Yeah, because you know, hey, people, from what I've heard and from what I've seen, I don't know how valid it is. That's why I haven't, you know, I'm not going to include it in this video, but. Supposedly they're like literally locking people into their apartments. They're like literally putting like lock chains or something to where people, if they physically can't, you know, leave their apartment, you know, and if they do, then, you know, there's going to be some real, you know, consequences to suffer, you know. So supposedly that's going on over there. But nevertheless, people, like it shows here.
And amid all the...
So yeah, you know, people are, you know, screaming out their windows, you know, and also from what I've heard, what's going on out there, man, you know, because pretty much, and that's another thing, you know I've mentioned it a few times. I'm sure brothers have spoken about it, because pretty much we're going back to a bartering system, all right? Because you see, again, when the money goes. When money becomes completely worthless, all right, you see, you know, we're going to go back to a bartering system. And from what I've heard, that's what they're doing over there. You know, people are, you know, hey, they don't, you know, they may need some type of supplies. Well, you know, we'll trade it for, let's just say we need a pack of batteries, or we'll trade you for 2 pounds of rice. You know, stuff like that is going on over there. And that's going to come over here, you know, and it's going to get so bad over here that, hey, a lot of women are going to start selling themselves, man. Hey, I've reported on this before, like out there in Afghanistan, man. It's so bad over there. The famine and the, you know, the humanitarian crisis is just conditions. It's just so bad over there that you got people literally selling their daughters for food. And it's to the point where people are selling their kidneys, man. You know, people are literally selling their kidneys, man, their own kidneys, because of how bad it is over there. You know, stuff like that's going to be taking place over here, man. And it's going to be, when all these plagues hit America, is going to hit this place worse, the worst. All right, because America is going to be the worst place to be in a minute, man. You know, this place is going to be the worst place to be. You know, and I've been saying, man, hey, you know, right now, you know, you see people, man, you know, they're out, you know, they're in that mirth spirit, you know, people laughing, drinking. And one thing I know, I noticed, there's more so Edomites, because Esau, he knows he's losing. He knows he's going down, man. And what I've been noticing more and more is that Esau, man, they you know, I've been noticing a lot of drunk Edomites, you know, a lot of Edomites, man, they're losing. So with that being said, they're losing it, you know, mentally, you know, they get more and more drunk. Cause like I said, you know, people are drinking more, you know, but these Edomites, man, they're losing, you know, they're going out bad, man, you know. But nevertheless, hey, you know, what are you going to do when the Lord takes that away? You know, because again, you know, you can only run from reality but for so long. You know, eventually reality is going to catch up to you. You know, eventually you're going to be faced with reality. You see, but, you know, what that reminded me of, you know, people screaming out the windows and stuff like that. And it's funny because, again, out there, supposedly in Shanghai, you know, they got drones, man, pretty much. They got drones pretty much in speakerphones and stuff like that, man, pretty much telling people to shut up and, you know, do this and do that, right? But I'm going to read this in Amos chapter 5 and verse 1. It says, hear ye this word which I hear ye this word which I take up against you, even a lamentation, O house of Israel. Because again, the focus is your Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. You are the focus. All right. You see, and prepare for lamentation, because I was going to make the point. Right now, you see people laughing, that mirth spirit, right? You know, that partying bullshit spirit. But hey, the time is going to come when all you're going to hear is lamentation, man, lamenting. All you're going to hear is people mourning, crying, sighing. You know, that's what that scene, people screaming out the windows. That's what it reminded me of. I'm going to jump down to verse 16, Amos 5 and 16. It says, therefore, the Lord, the God of hosts, the Lord saved us. Wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas, and they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing. So you see, yeah, man, it said, wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways. So you see that, you know, to kind of back up what I read in Isaiah 24, man, there should be a crying for wine in the streets, right? When you don't have the luxury of going to, you don't have the luxury of just you know, being able to just go out and about, man, and you know, just do whatever you want, because hey, the time's gonna come when lockdowns, restrictions, all right, you know, our movements are gonna be tracked. There's gonna be military presence, all right. Checking papers, where are you going? You know, curfews, all the whole 9 yards, man. And all that, what we seen in 2020 and parts of 2021, man, that was a small glimpse of what we're going to start seeing. That was a small glimpse of what we're going to see, man, when it really goes down out here, man. You know, checkpoints, all right, military patrolling the streets, all right. Like here, I'm going to continue to play this video out.
All the chaos, the United States has asked all its non-emergency consulate staff and their family members to leave Shanghai, and this order has irked the Foreign Ministry of China, which has once again bashed America for quote-unquote smearing China.
We express strong dissatisfaction and firm opposition to the U.S. politicizing and instrumentalizing the issue of personnel evacuation. We have lost stern representations with the U.S. side.
Ignore this.
Provided food kits, which seemed... But it is not just the number of infections that China has to worry about as of now. The city is now facing an acute shortage of food supplies. The government provided food kits, which seemed to be successful in China's first zero-COVID policy. But now, China faces empty supermarket shelves, inadequate delivery of food kits, and overwhelmed commercial services. And one of the reasons for this crisis may be the inconsistent COVID action plans, as rapidly changing strategies would not help delivery services and shops plan in advance. Secondly, well-to-do citizens have started to hoard the food supplies in order to save themselves from hunger. And finally, the desire to keep the city isolated has affected truck services. Drivers are being forced to undergo 2-week quarantines and are demanding a hike in their salary or even refuse to drive down to Shanghai, which has now broken the crucial supply chain.
So yeah, man, again, lockdown, they've been on lockdown and they're pretty much suffering a famine. The shelves are either empty or running hella thin, super thin, right? I think I got another video.
I'm here in my apartment in Shanghai in the last day, supposed the last day of my lockdown, but it looks like it's going to be extended. And my biggest concern right now is food. I'm running short of everything, and I want to give you a little peek inside my refrigerator. It may not look so bad, but I got to tell you, a lot of stuff is pretty old. Got milk here. The expiration date is April 1st. The bread's expiration date is March 30th. And today is April 6th. Thank God I still have a little bit of wine, because I think I'm going to need it.
The biggest concern right now for a lot of people is how to get food. For us, we have to order online through this one grocery app called Ding Dong My Chai. Basically, in the evening, usually after 9 p.m., you go into the app and see what's available. And as you can see, a lot of fruit, meat, and vegetables already gone. The big problem seems to be we can't get groceries delivered to our apartment because there's a lack of drivers delivering food in general because of the lockdown. The number of cases continues to rise in Shanghai and Jilin province. Both areas are struggling with the economic and personal ramifications of the lockdowns, with food shortages, a lack of medical care, and shuttered manufacturing plants bringing misery to residents. Shanghai remains the hotspot for the current flare-up, despite indefinitely extending a sweeping lockdown of its 25 million people.
Since he said that. And that's another thing. Like in Sri Lanka, man. Hey, man, situation over there is getting worse and worse. But hey, that's what we've been telling you. It's only going to get worse and worse. Because it's to the point now they're running low or either don't have medical supplies, even, prisoners, man, it's just, man, it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot. And like I said, they're never going to show these things on the mainstream media. So people think that it's just all good and handy and dandy. No, man, because that's another thing. Medical systems are failing, hey, man, a lot of these hospitals, man, they're running out of medical supplies, But I'm going to read this in 2nd Esdras 8 and 50. Because, hey, people are miserable, you see, and hey, that's what the Lord, like I said, he's bringing misery to this to this place, I'm going to read 2nd Esdras 8 and 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So this is what the Lord is getting ready. He's already doing it. But like I said, it's only going to intensify. It's only going to magnify. Like I've been saying, it's only going to get worse, man. Like we've been saying, it's only going to get worse. All right. The Lord is bringing great miseries, man. People are suffering from depression. All right. People committing suicide, man. Hey, and it's not even to the point where, it's full blown. We're not even in that full blown time of affliction that I read in Mark. And to show you how cold the Lord is, hey, people are going to be trying to commit suicide, man, in that day. And no, man, a lot of you people, the Lord's going to leave your spirit in your body. A lot of people are going to try to jump off buildings, man, to escape. But no, the scriptures talk about how there is not going to be no escape, man. You're going to jump off that building just to live. You might have all your bones broken, might be paralyzed. All right. And the Lord's not going to be done with you, man. You might have or you might have a bear come out and just maul you to death, and the Lord will keep your spirit in your body for you to feel every inch of that misery, man. Because hey, bears, they like to go for them internal organs, man. So they like to claw through the flesh, man, and they like to go for them internal organs. That's a painful death. You see? So you jump off a building just to survive, all right? The Lord will leave your spirit in your body, all right? And just to have you come out with a bear, just to have a bear come out and maul you to death, you know? You see, that's how cold the Lord is, man. A lot of people are going to try to commit suicide or try to escape, but you can't escape judgment, all right? You see, man, you can't, when the Lord decides to call his spirit back home, that's, the Lord will call his spirit back on his time, on his terms, not your terms, not our terms. You see? So the Lord is bringing misery, man, and you people in America, get ready for this.
People. Originally intended to be carried out in two parts, the rising number of infections led to a continuation of the restrictions in the eastern portion of the city that were initially expected to be lifted last week. So one question that I'm getting asked is why didn't I stock up on more food? Well, first is we were told that my phase of lockdown would last from Friday through Tuesday, and it's already Wednesday.
And that's what they did on this whole lockdowns back in 2020. They said it was going to be only for 2 weeks. It ended up being months, right? But that wasn't on that. I'm going to go to the next video. Got to get through this. I'm on the plantation.
Scarce in Chile as the country has entered the 13th year of a record.
So this is another thing we're going to start seeing as well. Food rationings. All right.
Water is running scarce in Chile as the country has entered the 13th year of record-breaking droughts. And in an attempt to overcome this condition, the government on Monday announced plans to ration water in its capital, Santiago. The country, with a population of around 20 million, is facing drought for more than a decade now. While some experts believe shortages of rainfall and climate change are the major reasons, others do not negate the effect of human activities, such as diverting river water or pumping groundwater from the aquifers, which has depleted the water levels.
Esos embalses ya no han tenido la posibilidad.
These reservoirs have not had the chance to fill up again, so year after year, they're losing more volume, and that is what we are seeing today. Before it was Lake Aculio, and now we are seeing it in others, such as Lake Peñuelas. We are also seeing it in aquifers throughout the area, whose levels have been decreasing.
Cuyos niveles han ido disminuyendo progresivamente.
An elaborate plan has now been put in place to overcome the crisis. The government intends to execute the plan in 4 stages. First comes the green alert. Its focus will be on water conservation. The next 2 stages will be preventive early warning stage and the yellow stage that will take note of reduced water pressures as well, while actual water rationing will happen in the last stage or when a red alert is declared. The authorities also promised that water supply cuts will happen only in one part of the city at a time and for not more than 24 hours. The plan will cover around 142,000 homes supplied by the Mapocho River and over 1 million homes supplied by the Marco River. Areas provided by well water and other sources will be exempted from the plan. Speaking about the new plan, Claudio Orrego, the governor of Santiago Metropolitan Region, said, and I'm quoting, "A city cannot live without water, and we are in an unprecedented situation in Santiago's 491-year history, where we have to prepare for there to not be enough water for everyone who lives here." The government estimates showing that over 30 years, availability of water in Chile has dropped by 10%.
So yeah, this plan to ration water, like I said, man, stuff like this is already going on in other places, man. If you're watching, food rationings, because like Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka, man, they ain't got no money to pay for anything, man. So stuff like this, man, where like places like Sri Lanka, man, they gotta ration fuel. You can only get a certain amount of gas. Only certain gas stations have a certain amount of fuel, and they're even having power cuts to preserve energy. Stuff like what you hear about rationings, whether it's food, water, and just supplies and resources in general. Like I said, hey, back in 2020, people fighting over toilet paper, man. You can only get a certain amount of toilet paper and stuff like that. A certain amount of items, and if I don't know if it's just my area. I'm sure this has to be going on in other places, but I notice, and when I go to, because I do a lot of deliveries and a lot of stores that I shop, I see the signs. I don't know if they're pushing it or if they're like enforcing it, but I see a lot of signs. They'll say something along the lines of, due to the limited amount of supply or whatever, we can only give out 2 of these items per customer and stuff like that. I notice, I see, So, hey, like I said, back in 2020, when people were fighting over these resources and these supplies and whatnot, well, hey, when the shit goes completely dry, or it just becomes to the point where it's just completely unaffordable, and people can't take care of themselves, what do you think that's going to lead to, man? What do you think that's going to lead to? Here it is, Joe Biden. He's doing, supposedly he's doing this thing where he's supposed to, because there's been a whole, ever since this whole crisis, pandemic or whatever started, there's been a all-time high in gun sales, ammo sales. All right, because people, hey, the Lord's put it on their spirit, especially these Edomites, man. They, for the most part, they see that shit is about to go down. It's you Jakes, y'all have no idea. It's you Jakes that have no clue what's getting ready to go down, man. But for the most part, you got a lot of these gun-toting Edomites, man. They see that shit is about to hit the ceiling, man. They see it's about to pop off out here, so they're getting ready. They're prepping. All right, they're getting ready. All right. And I was going to say, because a lot of these ghost guns, which I believe those, like the ghost guns, if I'm not mistaken, I think that it's like untraceable guns. If I'm not mistaken, Joe Biden is supposed to be cracking down, right? You just had this incident with out there in New York, or was it Brooklyn or New Jersey or somewhere up there, man, where this guy, which that's another video in itself, because there's just, I like to just, some videos before I do, my commentary on them, I like to just sit back and, just study and analyze and, just get some details and watching that situation, man. And, that shit is sketchy as all hell, but might do a video on that as well. All right. But stuff like that, because, stuff like that, I'm just going to assume that they're going to use to, come against, the ministry in some way, shape, form, or fashion, the persecution of the saints. All right. But nevertheless, stuff like that. You just had another situation, I believe, out here in Sanford, in Florida, somewhere in Florida. I think it was Sanford, where I think it was some school that got shot up or something. I don't know. It's just so much to keep up with, man. There's so much going on, but all these different things, could be all these different things, man. All these different events, Esau could use to pretty much come in and confiscate the guns, which that's in itself, like I said, man, that's gonna, these Edomites, man, they're gonna turn up, if they do that, because that's their blessing, at the end of the day, their gun, which is the sword, that's their blessing. So, you ain't taking their, you're not gonna take Esau's blessing away from them, not without a fight, But nevertheless, sticking to the point, going back to this whole rationing, which is already happening in a lot of places. All right. Like I said, one thing's going to lead to another, man. And when these food banks go dry, all right, all these places, man, when the shelves get more and more shelves get empty, all right, like I said, man, one thing is going to lead to another. People, man, these people, they're going to lose it, they're going to lose it. But I'm going to read this in Leviticus 26 and 26. It says, when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight, and ye shall eat and not be satisfied. All right. You see, man. So, hey, again, it said when the broken the staff of your bread, And like I said, man, it's not gonna be no food out here, man. You know, not gonna be no water. You know, there's gonna be rationings. All right. You know, food banks. You know, they're gonna give. You have a 600 people at a food bank line, right? But they only have enough food for 250 people. Well, hey, what do you think the rest of those people, man? Hey, shit. You know, once it gets to that last person, and once they run out of food, what you think is going to happen, man? You can use your imagination, you know, and you can, you know, and this is something as well has been taking place during this so-called pandemic, you know, because you know the price of everything is going up, the cost of living is going up, man. It's just getting harder, man. You know, and people are starting to, you know, what do you call it? Pretty much, you know, moving together and roommates. You know, you got people moving back in with their parents, and you know, just you know, all type of stuff like that's going on because I mean, you know, again, it's just the conditions of living. Everything's going up. You know, we'll go ahead and play his last video because I got one precept left that I want to read. Right.
Stores, but as Ontario deals with a sixth wave of throughout the pandemic, we've seen various shortages at stores. But as Ontario deals with a sixth wave of COVID cases and other seasonal ailments, there's another type of product that might be hard to find at your local pharmacy. Over-the-counter children's cold and flu medications. If you stroll down the aisles of your local pharmacy, chances are you'll see sites like this. Bare shelves, certain cold and flu meds out of stock. And it's not restricted to any one store or chain. City News visited several pharmacies in Toronto's East End. Each one had some stock missing. This Rexall pointing to manufacturer supply issues. We contacted the corporate.
So yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like right there, that sign. If I can go back.
Chain. City News visited several pharmacies in Toronto's East End. Each one had some stock missing. This Rexall.
So yeah, stuff like this is what I was talking about. It says we are currently experiencing shortages in select cough and cold products due to manufacturer supply issues. So yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. You know, I was seeing signs like this, you know, due to the, you know, experiencing shortages and, you know, such and such, you know, I would see stuff like that. And I was also see, you know, stuff to where, like I said, it would say due to the, you know, the shortages and blah blah blah, we can only limit on, you know, we can only you know, 2 per customer, you know, 2 items per customer, or whatever the case may be, you know. So this, you know, this is kind of what I was talking about.
Pointing to manufacturer supply issues. We contacted the corporate offices for Shoppers and Rexall to ask about current supply levels. We didn't receive responses by our broadcast deadline.
There were several products that we would normally order in that are on a back order situation with our wholesalers.
Jen Belcher at the Ontario Pharmacists Association says the cause isn't fully known yet, adding current supply issues could be due to high demand or delays during the manufacturing process. However, she says one thing is clear.
We are seeing a bump in cases in people who have symptoms, whether it be of COVID-19 or influenza or just your common cold at this point in time in the year. We see, especially since March break and with some of the changes around public health measures, there's been an increase in the transmission of respiratory illness.
At Kid Crew Medical in Toronto, Dr. Dina Kulik says she and others are seeing and hearing about more sick children.
Certainly seeing a lot more viral illness, so kids with coughs, runny noses, vomiting, diarrhea, pink eye, sore throats, achiness, all, the whole gamut of viral symptoms.
In addition to consulting with a child's healthcare provider, she shares this advice for COVID or the flu.
Making sure they're hydrated, making sure they're comfortable with medicines like acetaminophen or ibuprofen, making sure they're getting lots of rest. Even if they don't have a great appetite, as long as they're drinking, they're interactive with you, they're not having struggles with breathing, they should be feeling much, much better in a couple of days.
So when can we see a return to a normal supply of those cold and flu meds for kids? Belcher says several products are scheduled to be back in stock as soon as May, but she says it's not uncommon for order dates to change. She urged parents not to substitute children's products for adult ones.
Those combination products, which are typically all the cough and cold products, it can be very difficult to dose adjust because they're in fixed ratios, and just reducing the amount doesn't often produce either therapeutic or safe amounts of medication for a child.
Kulik echoes that caution too.
For one, they're not very helpful, and in some cases can actually pose risk. So I wouldn't be reaching for these kind of cough suppressants or medicines like that anyway.
For more on this story, go to citynews.ca. In Toronto for City News.
So yeah, man. And this is crazy, Salakia. I just saw this video, man. The Lord executed judgment. You see, that's another thing, man. What we're going to start seeing out here, man. Hey, the Spirit, I keep saying it, will have to be on us because we're going to see some things, man. This shit is crazy. Now, what I seen was which this is wicked as all hell, man. A video of these cats, man. They allowing pretty much this dog fight to go on. And you got this one cat, man. He's beating, he's beating the dog, or he's beating the dogs, right? And they're like in the middle of, they're like in a farm or something. So they, there's a lot of machinery and tractors and stuff, and this guy that's beaten. Now the Lord's going to judge all these people, all the people in this video, he's going to judge all these partakers. But this one guy, man, he's just beating the dogs, man, and he ended up getting caught in one of the machines, man. He's just, man, hey, all I'm going to say is the Lord executed judgment on his ass. And that's what he gets, You see, like I said, the Spirit is going to have to be on us to be able to withstand, to be able to see stuff like this and, keep it together, man. Because, again, when the Lord starts bringing these plagues, man, these people, man, they're not going to be able to keep it together. I'm going to read this first real quick in Isaiah before I get the precept that I wanted. Because, I read that in Mark 13 about how going into the children, right? But before I get that, I'm going to get this. Because again, what the Lord has in store for this place, people aren't ready, man. You're not going to be ready. Isaiah chapter 19 and 16 says, "In that day shall Egypt be like unto women." In Egypt, talking about modern day Egypt, which is America. Revelation 11 and 8, America is known as a spiritual Sodom in Egypt. So again, it says, "In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and feared because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it." And you see, when the Lord shakes this place up, hey, this is why the hopefully elect, the Lord is making us numb. All right, he's making us numb, man. Because the shit that's going to start happening out here, what we're going to start seeing, like I said, hey, like the first video that I played going into the elderly people, man, and hey, in those days, man, the people aren't going to give a shit about the elderly. They're not going to give a shit about you, women. You could be pregnant, all right. And that day is going to be about the survival of the fittest, man, all right. And people, hey, these people, they're going to take advantage. Like I said, especially when there's no food, all right. Especially these people here in America where, they're comfortable and, everything is just given to them on a silver platter, right? Everything is about convenience. Well, hey, when the Lord strips this place bare, when he breaks this place down, that's why I read in Isaiah 24, man. All right, they're crying for wine in the streets, man. The mirth is gone, man. Like I said, you're not going to have the luxury of just being able to go to McDonald's and order a Big Mac, man. Them days is coming to an end. You see, it's going to be about like I said, a survival of the fittest, man. Everyone's gonna have to just take what they can get, man. However, by any means necessary. And this is why the elect, man, they're gonna be protected. But going back to this in Luke chapter 23, because this is what this reminded me of. Like I read in Mark the 13th, right? Luke 23 and 29 says, "For behold," Luke 23 and 29, "For behold, the days are coming, in the which they shall say, Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bear, and the paps which never gave suck." So you see, because like I said, hey, when these times come, man, when those days come, all right, and we're on the move, and hey, children, they can be a burden. They can be a burden. Hey, women can be a burden because women, again, hey, women, they like to be comfortable. Women like to be comfortable, and But you see, when you're on the move and, you know, you gotta live in the wilderness, live in the woods or whatever, man. You see, like I said, when the Lord strips it, you know, that when He takes the, you know, away because again, everyone's here is comfortable, especially women. But when the Lord takes that away, all right, and we go back to a dog eat dog world, and like I said, man, you know, a bartering system, right? You know, we're coming into times where you're gonna have to learn to build a fire, right? You know, and I'm gonna say another thing. Yeah, you know, people better get used to. You better get into the herbs, man. You know, you better get into the herbs. All right. You know, trusting Yahweh Bashim Shah's way of you know, trusting His medicines, because Esau, hey, you know, is what you people trusting, man. You trusting in the shadow of Egypt. You trusting these pharmacies, right? So on and so forth, man. You know what? Hey, you better get into the herbs, man. You know, you better learn to live below your means. I'll say that, man. Because again, with the cost of everything going up, man, you know, learn to live below your means. Learn to eat less. You know, if you're used to eating fancy steak dinners every night, well, hey, you better learn to, you know, buckle down, man. You know. Better learn to eat tuna sandwiches or something, you know, because, hey, these are the times that we're coming into, you know. These are the times that we're coming into. And this also reminded me of the scene where in that movie World War Z, right, when, you know, pretty much all hell broke loose and you know, you had people run. And, you know, there's a few movies, but there's a lot of movies like that. But in particular, there's the World War Z movie with, what's this guy's name? Brad Pitt. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Brad Pitt, you know, and, you know, he's running into the what is that, the running into the pharmacy store to get the medications or whatnot. You see, this is the type of stuff we're going to start seeing, man, out here in America. All right, stores are going to start getting looted. All right, you know, hey, man, these are the times that we're coming into. It's going to be a dog-eat-dog world. It's going to get bad out here. Dark times, dark days are ahead of America. And we've been trying to tell you for the longest, man, you know. But yeah, man, there's a lot going on, man. Food rationings and inflation, and, you know, it's a lot going on. So I try to just, instead of doing a video on every single one of these videos, I just try to, you know, compile the videos together that I can, and, you know, just compile it into one video and whatnot. But hey, man, it's a lot going on, and again, nevertheless, this is coming here to America, so this is what we can expect to start seeing very soon. So hopefully this is edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Bashim Shai, brought a thumb to you, hopefully elect. Lord's willing, till next time, shalom.